Right. Buckle up, everyone. Because the tech world just dropped, well, a bomb, a financial one.
A pretty huge one.
Yeah, like $40 billion with a B.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, the AI that's probably writing better emails than I am right now.
Maybe.
They just landed a $40 billion funding round. SoftBank's leading it. And get this, the company's valued at what, $300 billion now?
$300 billion. It's actually the largest single private equity investment ever.
Ever. It's just wild. Forget the pizza party. What kind of intergalactic celebration are they planning with that?
Well, beyond the sheer size of the number, which is, eye-watering, the timing is really significant here.
Okay, yeah. How so?
We're kind of at this tipping point, right?
Yeah.
AI is shifting from this cool sci-fi concept to something that's actually getting baked into everyday business tools.
Yeah, it's showing up everywhere.
Exactly. And the fact that investors are willing to put this much capital down right now, it just screams, acceleration and intense competition.
Oh, for sure. It's not like OpenAI is the only player on the field. You've got the giants, Google, AWS, Microsoft.
And Microsoft's even in on this funding round, interestingly enough. Hedging their bets, maybe?
Yeah, playing all sides. And then you have others like Anthropic, Elon Musk's XAI. It's a crowded space.
Definitely.
So for everyone listening, trying to figure out what this AI whirlwind means for them, that's what this deep dive is about. We're going to try and cut through the noise.
Yeah, unpack why this $40 billion isn't just a crazy headline number.
Right. It's basically a massive signpost pointing towards, well, the future of how we're all going to be working, competing, maybe even arguing with our laptop.
Exactly. It's less about the zeros, more about the forces driving it and what it signals, especially for, enterprise AI.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Why now? And I saw this this furnace analogy, which kind of clicked for me.
Yeah.
So picture this, right? You're running this incredibly powerful AI.
Yeah.
One that can, I don't know, write poetry or make ridiculously realistic cat pictures. Doing that takes an insane amount of computing power. Servers, chips. The electricity bill alone must be terrifying.
Astronomical. That's the furnace, the sheer cost of building, and crucially, maintaining that AI infrastructure.
And what's really stoking that furnace right now is just the sheer number of people jumping on board. The user growth is, frankly, bonkers.
It really is. I mean, they apparently jumped from 400 million monthly active users to 500 million weekly active users.
In the space of a single month.
Weekly. That kind of growth curve is nuts. It puts this immense pressure on everything they've built so far.
Absolutely massive strain.
And you hear Sam Altman, the CEO, saying things like, at one point they were adding 1 million users in an hour.
Wow.
Remember when ChatGPT first launched? It took them, 5 days to hit the first million?
Yeah, something like that, about 26 months ago. So the acceleration is it's exponential.
It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a fire hose. You suddenly need much, much bigger pipes or, a lot more servers. And all those users, they're constantly hitting the system, demanding computations, generating data. This funding isn't just for fancy future stuff. It's essential for just keeping up with the current demand.
Just keeping the lights on, basically.
Pretty much. Scaling the plumbing to handle the flood.
And wasn't there that thing with the image generation? The Studio Ghibli selfies?
Oh, yeah. That definitely played a part in the recent surge. Everyone suddenly wanted to see themselves as an anime character.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Giant sparkly eyes, sign me up.
But it apparently got so popular so fast that they had to temporarily pause free access.
Really?
Yeah, their systems just got overwhelmed, which, it says a lot about how viral these things can become.
No kidding. That's demand you literally can't keep up with.
It really shows the power of these accessible AI tools to grab the public's imagination. But while that consumer stuff is flashy, and it's great for brand awareness and getting data, the real story behind this funding, especially for businesses listening, is the enterprise angle.
Okay, yeah. Let's pivot. Forget the selfies for a second. Let's talk about the suits, because that's where the serious long-term money and impact lies.
Right.
Applying this AI stuff in the business world.
Precisely. This cash infusion isn't just about the next viral trend. It's about arming OpenAI to be a dominant force in enterprise AI solutions.
So building tools for businesses.
Exactly. Sophisticated models, tailored products. And look, even with all that competition we mentioned, Google, Anthropic, DeepMind, whoever.
Yeah.
OpenAI's momentum hasn't really slowed. Attracting this kind of money proves that.
It feels like everyone woke up and realized enterprise AI is where the The gold rush is really happening. I saw a number, something like $644 billion projected spending on generative AI this year.
That sounds about right. And it's a huge jump, like 76% up from last year.
76%. Okay, so no wonder there's this mad dash. It's not a gold rush. It's a, I don't know, a silicon chip rush.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a piece of that pie, and they want it now. Which brings us to something really interesting OpenAI mentioned.
What's that?
Their plan to launch an open weights reasoning model, one that developers can actually run on their own hardware.
Okay, hold on. Open weights reasoning model. Break that down for me. What does that actually mean for like a regular company?
Sure. So think of it like this. Right now, if you want OpenAI's best stuff, you mostly access it via their cloud, right?
Yeah.
You pay a subscription, you use their servers.
Yeah, sure.
An open weights model is like, well, it's like they give you the core brain of the AI, the weights, the parameters, and you can take that brain and run it on your own computers inside your own company's network.
Ah, okay. So you're not constantly sending data back and forth to OpenAI's cloud.
Potentially, yes. It gives companies much more control over their data, which is huge for privacy and security concerns.
Right, sensitive company data.
Exactly. And it could, potentially, reduce long-term costs compared to paying cloud subscription fees forever. It kind of removes a barrier for some companies hesitant about cloud AI.
So instead of renting the fancy AI apartment, you get the blueprints to build your own AI workshop in your basement.
That's actually a pretty good analogy, yeah. It could really change how businesses decide to adopt and integrate AI.
Makes sense. Could lead to wider use, maybe more customized stuff.
That's the idea, more democratization of their advanced tech.
All right, so let's get back to the money itself. This $40 billion. Who actually wrote the checks?
Well, as we said, SoftBank was the lead investor. Big check from them.
Right.
But Microsoft also chipped in significantly, which is interesting given their existing deep partnership.
Yeah, double dipping almost.
And then you have other big investment firms involved too, Coatue, Altimeter, Thrive Capital. It's a serious vote of confidence from the financial heavyweights.
Okay, and where's all this cash going? Besides, presumably, a massive server shopping spree.
Well, yes, expanding the furnace is definitely part of it. A big chunk is for ongoing AI research, pushing the boundaries of what these models can actually do.
Making them smarter.
Smarter, more capable. Another chunk is absolutely for scaling up that computational infrastructure, building more server farms to handle growth and future needs.
Got it.
And, of course, improving the existing tools like ChatGPT, making them better for everyone, individuals and businesses.
And I read something about Project Stargate. Sounds very sci-fi.
It does, doesn't it? It's reportedly this huge joint venture, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle.
Oracle's involved too.
Yep. And they've apparently earmarked something like $18 billion of this funding just for Stargate.
$18 billion just for that project. What is it?
The goal seems to be building like the absolute next generation of AI infrastructure. Think beyond just more servers. Think entirely new, massive data centers, maybe even custom hardware, all designed specifically for the insane power needs of future AI models.
Wow. Okay, $18 billion for infrastructure alone.
Yeah.
That puts the scale of their ambition into perspective. They're not planning for next year. They're building for the next decade or more.
It really highlights just how computationally hungry they expect these future AI systems to be. There were also some reports suggesting the funding might come in stages, in tranches. And maybe a condition attached was OpenAI having to become a fully for-profit company by the end of the year.
Interesting. So they're not technically for-profit right now. That always seemed a bit fuzzy.
They have this sort of unique capped profit structure nested under a nonprofit parent, shifting fully to for-profit.
Oh.
Well, it probably makes sense given the sheer scale and the expectations of these investors pouring in billions.
Right. The investors want a return eventually.
Exactly. And it lines up with reports saying OpenAI is actually running at a significant loss right now.
Wait. Valued at $300 billion, just raised $40 billion, and they're losing money. How does that compute?
It's that classic tech growth story, right?
Hey.
Pour everything into research, development, scaling, capturing market. Worry about profits later.
Like buying a fleet of Ferraris on credit, hoping you'll invent a way to make fuel free later.
Sort of. The bet is that the market they're creating will be so massive that the eventual profits will dwarf the current losses. They apparently project hitting profitability by, 2029?
2029. Okay, so still a few years out.
Yeah, and then becoming significantly profitable after that. That's the long game these investors are funding.
Right. Okay, so we've covered the who, the what, the why. The mind-boggling numbers. But let's bring it home. Why should someone listening right now, maybe driving to work or running a department, actually care about OpenAI's massive payday?
Because this is the fuel that's going to dramatically accelerate what you see hitting the market.
Meaning more AI tools faster.
Way more, way faster. Especially tools aimed squarely at businesses. You can expect a continuous, probably overwhelming stream of new AI-powered solutions.
So if you're in business, any kind of business really, you can't just ignore this.
Absolutely not. Whether you're a tech leader, a manager, an entrepreneur, you need to keep your eyes wide open. You need to stay informed about what's being released.
And figure out how it affects you.
Yes. How might these tools impact your operations, your competitors, your strategy? Do you need to adopt them? How do you integrate them? How do you compete against them if your rivals adopt them first?
It's not a distant future thing anymore. This funding just pours gasoline on a fire that's already burning pretty brightly in the enterprise world. It's happening now, and it's speeding up.
It really forces the question for everyone listening. Okay, these tools are coming fast. How is my organization going to move beyond just trying them out and actually leverage them to get a real, meaningful competitive advantage?
Yeah, good question. So, quick recap. OpenAI gets a historic $40 billion boost thanks to crazy user growth and massive enterprise ambitions.
Driven by investors like SoftBank and Microsoft fueling research, huge infrastructure projects like Stargate, and a potential shift to a for-profit model.
And the big takeaway for you listening,
Yeah.
get ready for an even faster wave of enterprise AI solutions. Staying vigilant and strategic is, well, it's not optional anymore.
Adaptability is key.
Totally. And maybe a final thought to chew on. With this kind of money flooding in and AI evolving at this breakneck speed, how are companies going to find genuinely new ways to use these tools? Not just automating old tasks, but creating truly different business models or advantages. Because the race is definitely on. What kind of unexpected innovations or maybe disruptions are we going to see emerge as these giants battle it out? It's going to be quite a show.